Hola clase, hoy vamos a mirar el 4.3 que son stem changing verbs E to I. We've already seen a bunch of different type of stem changing verbs, but today we're going to look at the third kind and the last kind of stem changing verbs that happen with IR verbs. Only with IR verbs and only a few IR verbs, okay? So pedir, for instance, which means to ask for, to request. So in these verbs, the stressed vowel in the stem changes from E to I, as shown here. So the E is the stressed verb. So you have the verb stem, which is ped, and that turns to an I, ped. So that gives to pedo. So the stem change does not happen in the nosotros or the vosotros form. We, of course, don't use the vosotros form in this class, so we only have to think about the nosotros. So here's the verb pedir in its forms. Notice the stem change highlighted in bold. So you say pido, pides, pide. Stem change goes away, pedimos, and piden. So to help you identify verbs with the E to I stem change, you'll see them appear in the text as such, right? So you'd have the infinitive pedir, and then next to it, between parentheses, you'd have this little sort of formula, the E with the colon to an I. That tells you that it's an E to I stem change. So these are the most common E to I stem changing verbs. So we have conseguir, and the stem change is here on the E. Decir, stem change on the E. Repetir, stem change here on this E. And seguir, stem change here. So here are a few examples. Pido favores cuando es necesario. Javier dice la verdad. So here you see the stem changes happening, the E to I. Sigue con su tarea. Consiguen ver buenas películas. Okay, and there you have all the English for what these verbs mean and the translation of the sentences. So it is important to know that decir also has an irregular yo form. So you say digo. Okay, so decir turns to digo. So for to say I say, you say digo. Okay. And also with seguir and conseguir, the spell change, there's a spell change in addition to the stem change. So you lose the U in the yo form, okay? So it's not S-I-G-U-O, just sigo and consigo. All right, so keep that in mind as you're doing your work. And that's it for the PowerPoint. So we'll just do a few activities here. We'll start with this one. We'll start with this activity. So as always, I'll be moving through this relatively quickly, but you'll pause it when I tell you to pause it so you can think about the answer and you can go at your own pace. So this activity is called Los fines de semana, which means the weekends. So here it tells us to fill in the blanks. Not all the words will be used, but some can be used more than once. All right, and they're already conjugated for you. So it's fairly straightforward. Now there's a mixture here of all types of verbs. Okay, you see cierran, which is a different type of stem change, completa, which isn't a stem change, just a regular verb, etc. Okay, so we really have to be on our toes here to see which one makes the most sense. Okay, número uno, Andrés blank muy cansado de correr. Pause it. And we're back. What verb makes sense here? The only verb that really makes sense here is vuelve. He returns. He comes back very tired after running, right? It's the only verb that makes sense here. Completa wouldn't make sense because we have to remember that's for Andrés, so it really can only be a third person singular verb. So this is a third person singular verb, this is a third person singular verb, and this is a third person singular verb. So there's only three options. So completa, he completes very tired. That doesn't make sense. He requests with pide, very tired. That doesn't make sense. He returns very tired from running. That makes sense. There you go. Número dos. Mariana blank un periódico para leer. Pause. And we're back. So again, we're confronted with a third person singular, so it's the same verb. So completa, pide, o vuelve are the only options. And the only one that makes sense here would be pide, right? Asks for a newspaper to read. Muy bien. Número 3. Ellos, so now we're in a third person plural, so it has to end in an N. Ellos blank sus tareas por la tarde. Okay? Pause. And we're back. Again, we have 3 options. 4 actually. It could be cierran, empiezan, vuelven, o piden. So the only one that makes the one that makes the most sense here would be empiezan. They start their homework in the afternoon. In theory, it could be piden. They request their homework in the afternoon, but that doesn't really make much sense. Starting their homework in the afternoon makes much more sense. Okay, so empiezan. Muy bien. 4. Ustedes blank a esquiar el fin de semana. Sorry about that. So again, we have a third person plural, ustedes, so it has to end in an N. And so go ahead and pause it. And we're back. And the only one that makes sense here would be vuelven. Are you returning? Are you going back to skiing this weekend? Are you coming back to ski? Is how we would say it in English, right? Vuelven, not vuelvan. Vuelven a esquiar el fin de semana. All right, so are you coming back to ski this weekend? Okay, bien. 5. Ellas blank jugar en el equipo de fútbol. Okay, pause. And we are back. So, what can it be here? The only option that makes sense is piden. They ask to play, right? On the football team. Ellas piden, right? Because it's a third person plural, so it has to end in an N, and it's the only one that makes sense here. Número 6. Yo, so this is fairly easy. We know that it ends in an O, and it looks like we only have 2 options, so repito o consigo. So yo blank todo lo que quiero. Pause. And we're back. So consigo is the one that makes more sense. I get everything I want, as opposed to I repeat everything I want. And lastly, número 7. Sergio blank su tarea de español. So this is a third person singular, so it has to be either completa, pide, or vuelve. Right? Pause. And we're back. Completa. Right? He finishes his Spanish homework. All right? So let's see how we did here. It's telling us we got them wrong because I put them in capitalization, and it does look like maybe we got one wrong. So let's look here. So number 1, vuelve, got that right. Pide for number 2. 3, empiezan, got that right. Again, it's red. Oh, actually, no, we got the check mark. I'm not really sure if we got them wrong or right. But anyway, I think it's marking it wrong because maybe we... Wow, so we did get some wrong. Interesting. Well, let's see. So, vuelve, pide, empiezan, empiezan. You could definitely use vuelven here. They come back to ski. But it's telling us they start skiing this weekend. That's fine. That works. Got piden right. Repito, they're saying here. I repeat everything I want. That works, but so does consigo, right? Because I get everything I want. So either of those work. And then here it's saying Sergio pide su tarea de español. And we put completa. That's a little weird. He asks for his homework. I don't know why completa wouldn't be right. Makes me wonder if there's something going on with this activity. Aha, there we go. So if we look at the answers, I see. It gives you options. This makes more sense. So if you look at 7, you could either say completa or pide. Both of those work. For 6, you could say consigo or repito. Oh, I see now. That's why it was giving us green check marks. It was telling us they were all correct. For 4, you can say vuelven or empiezan. All right, so we have options there. Okay, I get it. Okay, muy bien. Sorry about the confusion there. Let's do one more quick activity using these E to I stem changing verbs. So this tells us fill in the blank with the present tense of the indicated verbs. So again, there's verbs all over the place. This is just mostly practice conjugating. So Claudio dice, número uno, with tener blank ganas de ver un partido de Real Madrid en el estadio con mis amigos. So pause, and we're back. So here would be tengo. So if you remember, tengo ganas de ver means I feel like, right? I feel like watching this game. Pero no blank los boletos. Pause. And we're back. Consigo. I'm going to put it in lowercase this time. No consigo. I can't get tickets. Tu blank trabajando en el estadio. No. Pause. And we're back. Sigues. Careful with the spell change there, right? Sigues, just like here. Consigo, spell change. I'm sorry, stem change and spelling change for yo. Here, just a stem change, the E to I. Silvia responde, sí, blank, trabajando ahí. Pause. And we're back. Sigo. Stem change and spell change, right? So I'm still working there. Claudio pregunta, ¿y puedes conseguir boletos? Right? Can you get tickets? Silvia, sí, pero no es fácil conseguir los boletos. Oh, it's not very easy to get them. Claudio dice, vamos, Silvia, por favor. Yo nunca blank favores with pedir. Pause. And we're back. Pido. I never ask favors. Silvia dice, está bien. And the verb is ir blank a conseguir los boletos. Pause. And we're back. Voy a conseguir. I'm going to get them. And finally, Claudia dice, gracias, estoy feliz. Mis amigos y yo, careful here, so mis amigos y yo, siete ir a ver un partido de Real Madrid en el estadio. Pause. And we're back. Vamos. Right, we're going to see a Real Madrid match in the stadium. All right, so we'll go ahead and submit this and see how we did. And it tells us we did just fine, right? Nothing's wrong. It tells us that this shouldn't be capitalized. That's okay. Okay, clase, muy bien, buen trabajo. Again, this is on pages 133 to 135, and you have more homework practice on the super site with this. Hasta luego!